Welcome to the Breathe Belief podcast show, where I am your host, Bree, and I am so freaking excited to talk to you about beliefs. Welcome. That's the name of this channel. Did you know inside of the word itself is the word lie? And I'm really excited to talk about this concept because the beliefs that we hold are not just affecting how we orientate to our world or to our reality, but they're also the same things that can be very self-destructive. And ironically, if we're not aware of our beliefs, then we just fall into the trap of believing the lie that it's hard to change, or that things won't change, or that we're not capable, or that we're not worthy, or that we're not enough, or that we're not lovable. All of the lies that we believe are simply inside of a belief that we were given. And sometimes the beliefs that we hold, we're not even consciously aware of. Okay, so yes, the subconscious is the part of your brain that is constantly listening. Okay, so you may or may not recognize that there's different parts of your brain. The subconscious is the part of you, it's the feeling part of you, and it's also the brain part that actually is listening 24/7. And so down to the radio that you're listening to every morning, down to the news that you're watching every morning, down to the people that you associate with work every single day, down to the conversations that you're having inside of your mind, and even down to the things that aren't spoken. So the subconscious mind is there and it's running all the time. In fact, it's running even while you're sleeping. It's the part of you, it's the subservient part, and it wants to serve you. It's also the part of you that has kept you alive and wants things to be the same. And the conscious brain is what we think or what we use to create choice. And I'm really passionate about this because unless you understand the different parts of your brain, then you don't understand why things in your life aren't changing or getting better. And you then do believe that you're broken. So how many of you have thrown money at a problem just to avoid the feeling of feeling something, right? Like you're in business and you don't want to fail and you don't want to feel the stress of something, so you throw money at the problem so that you don't have to feel what you're feeling, right? This also is in multiple areas of life. Like you hire coaches, right, to solve a problem in your emotional world or your relationship problems or whatever problem. We're so used to throwing money at it. And the idea in the world and down to our social media and what's being broadcast really is that you're not enough. The beauty industry, thousands and millions of dollars. And if you have thicker lips and a tinier waist and more muscle, you're way more hot. And so then you're way more worthy. And it's just a cycle. So I love understanding what beliefs actually mean inside of a person, because tell me how many times you've ran into someone or have prejudged someone just off the outside appearance alone. And then you start to get to know them, or something happens tragically and you're like, holy crap, I never would have suspected, guessed, or predicted that from that person. And it's crazy because we're going off of what's tangible, our senses, right? Like we can touch it, so it's real. We can see it, so we think we know, even down to people. We judge them off of what we see, but we don't judge them off of actually what's happening internally, because there's just no freaking way to know that, right? Like the rich CEO at a company may have the lowest self-esteem of all, but because he has it on the outside, we predict that he's got to be happy. And so we play this illusion on the outside world that the outside world is going to give us an internal feeling. And when we get the internal feeling, somehow we'll be someone different than we already are. And that's a belief in itself, because then you would believe that you're not worthy and whole and perfect as you are right now. You're believing that when something externally happens, it will increase your value or it will deappreciate your crappy belief structure somehow, right? Like there are so many things that dictate or influence the way that we feel, and it's an illusion. And just to break down that word, if you're following me, inside of the word illusion is ill. Like if you have any sort of illness and you're listening to this, you are believing an idea, concept, or a thought of your own, self-produced or not, and it's causing an illness inside of the illusion because you're believing something that isn't truth. On the flip side of that, if you have really healthy, amazing beliefs, then you're not going to be experiencing the same life as someone who truly believes something different than you. There are so many books and sciences and in the metaphysical world and metaphysics and science that helps us comprehend what the word belief can actually do inside of someone. If you believe that you are worthy, you will make decisions based off the premise that you are always going to get what you desire, versus someone else who says, well, my past defines who I am, therefore I have no chance to move forward or be different or have what someone else has. And I love this because if you were like me, I was raised in a very Christian home and have always believed in God my whole life, and always had this idea that we were all the same. Where I picked that up was just my own perception of the world, that we were all the same, or in other words, we were all, worthy or equal, or whatever word you want to use, pick your choice of word. And I didn't understand that evolution was happening at different levels inside of different people, and that people weren't just the face value, the way they show up. In other words, I could have a different evolution and journey than you might have, and we might be in different paces in our life, right? Like, think about it this way. It's the easiest way to look at it. Society says get married, have kids, and you do that at whatever age you do. Especially in Western society, it happens pretty young, right? Like, get married before you're 40 and probably have kids before then too. And, judge your value based off of whether or not you went to school and got a good job and had a good, house and all the stuff. And in evolution, we look at how well we're doing based off the things that we have accomplished and achieved. And then there's a different awareness or consciousness that says, actually, it's not just about the tangibles that I've been able to collect. It's actually way more than that, because the truths that you learn are happening in your internal world. Now, I love the word universe because inside of the word universe, it implies that it starts with you. And so your universe and my universe are going to be completely different, but inside of that universe is an operation happening. And guess who the operation is? It's you. And I love this because inside of our universe, there's a separate universe happening, and that's your mind. Now, what I really wanted to get down to is answering the question that so many women and sometimes men ask, which is like, how do you change your beliefs? Like, I hear you loud and clear. I probably shouldn't think the way I do all day long. In fact, I don't even know that I'm having crappy thoughts. I just know that I switch from being okay to being angry really, really fast. Or I'm having a great day and then something triggers me and I swear that it's my boss's fault or my cousin or whoever. The problem is that you're trying to skip to step 10 when the first step is awareness. When you're aware of what your thoughts are, then we can start to question what the belief is under that. The number one mistake that I see people make, and we'll use the word mistake or unaware, is that they're not going deep enough. Like, it's one thing to be like, yeah, I have thoughts that I probably shouldn't have. And it's a whole nother realm to say, okay, so I thought this today, so I acted this way, and then it triggered this response, and this is the bottom root. And the bottom root is that I don't think I'm enough. So I ended up doing 10 things today that I didn't actually need to do, and now I resent everyone around me because I was trying to earn my worth all day long, while actually I really just wanted to do one thing and it didn't get done. And so it's really interesting when you start to dig into the mind, into your own universe inside of you, because you don't even understand half of the things that are happening even passively, right? Like, we can say all day long the right things. We've been trained to give an answer and a response since we're in elementary. Hello, like, what's the answer to this? Raise your hand, be the perfect child. And I see this in perfectionists because I was that person. The perfectionist says, I know all the right answers. I'm the smartest one in the room. Let me show you how amazing I am. Me, so that I can hide the underlying issue and the belief that I carried that I didn't know. And that was that I wasn't lovable. So it was like, hey, let me show you how awesome I am and how amazing I can do things. And then maybe you'll think I'm amazing and then I'm going to earn your love. And it was this rat race. Like, it was amazing what I understood when the belief surfaced, because it freed up this whole awareness that actually I didn't have to believe that. Like, that was a lie. The fact that I had to earn love, or I have to earn your love, is a lie. So I want to ask you, how many of your actions are motivated under a premise that you're not enough and you're not lovable and you're not worthy and you're not capable and you're broken? So to cover up the way that you feel inside, you go to the external world and you're like, hey, I've got this big problem. I want to throw money on it, or I want to draw in a partner. And for those that don't know, I actually help divorced women, because I recognized after going through 2 of my own divorces by the age of 26, the only issue wasn't the man, right? Like, I could blame him and be a victim. Okay, that feels yucky. Like, why the hell would I choose to give away my power and just say that men are crappy? Because then I create a belief which isn't true, and then go and blame all of these amazing males, when really the real issue was my self-worth. Because I called in people that matched my energy, that matched my programming, that matched my beliefs, that I was just this, for lack of better words, person that had no self-esteem, like garbage self-esteem. And so I help women reclaim and build their self-esteem and fall in love, because once you have self-worth, it's over. The game is over. And people start to look at you really weird, and you'll notice, I've experienced this, the judgment that comes when you no longer have to play by the rules everyone else is playing by. It's almost like you figured out this hack, and now everyone's envious of you and hates you and judges you because you're not doing 20 things to climb the ladder. You just are. You skipped all the steps. You have your self-worth. You're totally good. And now all the choices that you make are because you choose to. And now you're in real creation, because you know you're worthy no matter what. You know you're loved no matter what. You know you're connected. You know your self-worth isn't determined based off of how many cells you hit that day, or your productivity in the workforce, or how well your spouse is treating you, or how well your kids are acting. It's only based off of the truth and the belief that you just are, period, dot, end of sentence. Like, there's no other words. You just are. You don't play the external game anymore. And so people look at you like, why are you so happy? And why do you get to just feel free? Right? Like, I don't know about you, but for me, my favorite word is freedom. I have a lot of words, but one of my desires is to constantly feel freedom. I want to feel free. I want to feel sovereign. I want to feel like I actually have choice. And when you don't understand what subconscious beliefs you're holding on to, you actually don't have choice, although your conscious mind wants you to believe that you have choice. But if you were raised in a family or a set of circumstances, or had gone through traumas and trials, then you naturally just picked up beliefs, whether you knew it or not, and they're running you. Like, they're actually your control center. So you're not actually in choice and agency the way that you think that you are. And how many times, especially if you've been raised in religion or spiritual concepts, are we told that we have agency and true choice? You don't have free will or actual choice until you understand that it starts with your thoughts, because every minute you're choosing to believe into a thought. And the only reason you're not more mindful of this is because you don't believe that your thoughts are your superpower. And half of you will think, okay, that's woo-woo, that's stupid, whatever. It's not really impacted me up until now. Like, okay, sure. If that's working for you and you have no desire to change your thoughts whatsoever, that just means that you just have the life that you want. Like, you're totally content. You don't believe that anything needs to change, and that's okay too. There's also another part of you that's totally unconscious that isn't even aware of the damage that it's doing to you until you have a rude awakening. And my divorce did that for me. I had no idea that I had low self-esteem. In fact, most people don't know they don't have great self-worth until something happens dramatically where they're questioning everything in their life. Like, imagine waking up thinking, holy crap, like, I'm going through my second divorce and I don't understand what's wrong with me. How many of you have had that thought? I don't understand what's wrong with me. Well, nothing's freaking wrong with you. What's wrong is the thoughts that you're believing. That's what's wrong. And the fact is, you keep letting them go day after day after day after day. And I truly believe that our highest highs and our lowest lows are first started in the mind, right? Like, if we're not constantly keeping that check of what our thoughts are actually doing up there, then it allows us to go from the most incredible human being who feels powerful to the least influential person on the world, and then allow us to have suicidal thoughts. Like, your mind has the ability to not just look for evidence on what you believe, but it also has the ability to take you to the highest heights and to the lowest lows. In fact, if you're in one of the darkest places that you've ever been in right now in your life, I want to inspire you and tell you that you have way more power than what your world looks like currently. It looks dark, it looks gloomy, it looks those ways, because essentially it's a chance, it's an opportunity to recreate what actually you deserve. Okay, you have to believe that. If you don't believe that, you're going to then believe its alternative, which is things are happening to you and not for you. And that's a dangerous place to be in, because if you believe that there is an external force working against you, you're the fish swimming upstream, and that's really freaking hard. You're going to get tired eventually, stop swimming and just let the stream take you downhill, right? So it makes sense to believe that life is happening for you and not to you. But the way to transition isn't always that simple. So back to the original question, how do I change my freaking beliefs? I don't want to believe these lies. In fact, I want to believe things that serve me, and I don't want to buy into the illusion that causes my illness, and my illness is in my head. So then the first step is being aware of the thoughts that are happening inside of my head, bringing in the awareness that, holy crap, I didn't know I was so negative. I'm so negative, I didn't even know I was negative. Once you have that awareness, then you start to bring in what we call choice. You can choose to think that, or you can catch it when it shows up. Observe it neutrally, right? It's just a thought. Don't make it personal. The ego wants to make it personal. All you've got to do is be aware, and there's an entire process that happens behind this. I'm really passionate about helping you move those beliefs outside of you that don't belong there, because you deserve to have the most epic, incredible, pleasurable life that you can think of. But there's this belief that we have when someone says that we have to struggle and be on the struggle bus. And life is hard. How many times have you freaking heard someone say, well, that's just how life is? Or that's just how it is. And when I say pay attention to who you're paying attention to, it is really easy to be mindless and to be just really casual in the way that we talk with our friends or with influences or coworkers or family or associates, because the more that you just let those things come into you, it's almost like you start to believe them, and it happens slowly. It's why untangling beliefs happen slowly as well, because building a belief is also taking its time. We don't just manifest one time after thinking one thought, but what you continue to build upon will grow, right? If you plant the seed, that's just how life is, and you're paying attention to all of these Debbie Downers and Eeyore energy, then yeah, you're going to start thinking that way, and then believing that, and then behaving that way, right? And so it's really crazy, because we all want to feel important. We all want to feel like we belong. And sometimes the only issue, or the only thing that's broken, is that we're not paying attention to who we're paying attention to. And if a lot of your surroundings and environment supports you becoming this amazing, incredible human being with full potential, awesome. Turn it inward, though. Turn it into what you're paying attention to. Where is your focus? Where are your thoughts? Where is your energy? Where are your intentions? And I have a whole podcast on just that alone coming up, because the word intention means that you have to put real intent into something. And sometimes we think that the only way to do that is to go out and do, to come from a masculine energy and go do something so that we can create intent. But really, intention starts from within. So you have to understand that concept first. But I'm really, really excited for the person that needs to hear this, because you are way more than the lies carried in your beliefs. And all you need to know is that you're not broken. In fact, most of your beliefs happened before age 7. And even before all of that science and all of that facts and all of those things came out, all you need to know is that you came into this world with a set of parents that had their own limitations. And if you're a parent, you've got your own limitations. And it's so beautiful when you come into the idea that maybe you really can create anything and everything you desire. And the best thing I was ever told by my mentor was that there will always be chaos after creation. So don't misunderstand that once your beliefs start changing and things start shaking up, yes, people will fall away from you. Yes, your environment might change. Yes, you might not be attracted to the same people and things you were. And that's because when you up level, then things around you naturally have to match that energy. So yes, there's a grieving process to creation, because the things that you stood on before at your low were no longer your low. Your new high is your new low. Right? And so it's like a ladder. Imagine just raising the bar. The things that you used to stand on no longer serve you. And so you're up leveling. And when you do that, you can't hold on to the same ideas and people and places and things that helped you create that, because then they're just going to be the crabs at the bottom of the jar pulling you down when you start crawling up. And their intentions are well, but they don't understand how you got there. And so just by you being in their presence, it threatens their complacency, because you're challenging their potential and you're showing them what's possible. And by them not choosing into that, it just brings up the awareness that they're not fully living up to their capabilities either. And so it's a really beautiful process, but it all comes down to perspective, because I believe that that's a beautiful part of creation, right? But someone else might see chaos and think, oh my gosh, I'm doing the wrong thing. Fear sets in, and then we go backwards. And fear is just, again, part of the illusion where the illness happens, and it's the only factor that keeps you the same. Fear is the factor that says, hey, don't rise, don't do that. If you do it, you're going to die, which is just also part of the subconscious saying, hey, we never used to be this person before. Are you sure you really want to grow? Are you sure you really want to rise? Are you sure you want to do that? And so thank your brain for all of the ways that it works, and start to be mindful of where your thoughts are, because then we can go under that thought and ask more questions and ask, where did that come from? Who taught me to think that way? Do I want to believe this? Do I want to change this? What is possible if I change it to the exact opposite 360 degrees? Awesome. I realized after my second divorce and having my heart ripped out of my chest, I had the lowest self-worth on the planet. Okay, I mean, you'd have to if you married someone who had already cheated on you before you married them, and then there's empathy. But I could, without judgment, look at myself and realize that I was just marrying people or husbands that mirrored my low self-worth. And when I fix that and recorrect it, I naturally fall in love with who I already am. And therefore, I attract now partners who are at my level, right? And I'm not pulling from desperation. So that one belief alone changed my entire life, which is why I coach women for that exact reason, because I realize that our beliefs stem from a lot of our relationships and how well we're performing and how well we can keep people happy, especially women, right? Like, you people please to the T, and you show up and you cook food and you serve and you give love and you give love and you give. And then don't tell anyone that you resent the hell out of everyone asking you for something, right? So we'll get into this deeper on the next episode, but if you leave with anything today, it's that your beliefs are your choice, and you can choose to believe the lie inside the belief, or you can choose to have beliefs that repel lies, that allow you to move up, allow you to rise, allow you to be the most amazing person that you're possibly capable of. And it's all by choice. And you only have choice when you're aware. And we start with recognizing what's happening inside of our minds. So I leave you with this thought. You're freaking incredible. You're freaking powerful. And I dare you to challenge yourself to look at the beliefs that you hold and ask if you're doing things because you truly want to, or if because you're trying to cover up a feeling or a belief that doesn't serve you, like, I'm not enough. I'm not capable. I can't do that. No way, not me. Only for her. Only for him. Success doesn't come for me. It can't possibly mean that. So with this last thought, I also want to remind you that when you're doing belief work, it takes a hell of a lot of courage to be someone that says, hey, I have an internal program running inside of me, and I am willing to go shake it up. Like, it takes someone with determination, desire, and some awesome courage, because you don't, like I said, you don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm ready to wreck things. I am ready to go all the way into the very core issues and start tearing apart all the things that no longer matter, right? Because we're so focused on our daily activities and our external world. But for the warrior who wants to go inside and wants to rearrange that, so within, so without. And I think you're incredible. If you feel inspired to book a call with me, I've got a few more spots open. I will drop a link below so that you can get to that and book a call with me. I love giving a call for that exact reason, because figuring yourself out means that you've got blind spots because you are you. But when you have a coach outside of you, it's really easy to say, oh, wow, I didn't know I was actually operating that way. Cool. And so what's really exciting about having someone in that support system is realizing, like, okay, who I was yesterday isn't who I need to be today. And when I do start falling back into the belief that I'm not enough and my life's crappy, I've got someone pulling me out of the mud, right? That's why you have a coach. You don't have a coach because you got everything figured out. You have a coach because you're a freaking badass, and you don't know that yet. So I'm going to inspire you to be reminded of that. And I'm really passionate about you coming home to yourself, because life is so rich and so amazing and so fulfilling. And you've got to go through the dark night of the soul to get there, because thinking your way to it isn't going to work. It will bypass you feeling the crap that you don't want to feel. It will tempt you to throw money at the problem, but there is no problem and you're not broken. So with that, I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll talk later. Woo!